Okay. Okay, very good. Thank you. Welcome everyone to the November 18th, 2025 Planning and Zoning Commission meeting. This is a web-based meeting, so we are operating under the following procedures. This meeting is being audio and video recorded. The video recording will be available within 24 hours and will be posted on the Town of Waterford's Planning Department website. To ensure good sound quality, the default rule for this meeting is that everyone will remain on mute unless they are speaking. If an attendee creates an audio or video disruption, the Zoom moderator may place them on mute or remove them from the meeting if the disruption continues. If that disruption continues, the meeting may be closed and we will restart. We will not use the chat feature in this meeting. Public comment will only be accepted during the public hearing portion of the meeting. The chair will announce when the hearing is open and will ask for public comment. Public comment will not be accepted after the hearing is closed. We appreciate your attendance at this meeting. Should you have any questions about the process, you may call our staff at 860-444-5813 between the hours of 8 a.m. and 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. And with that, I turn over to the chair.
Okay, great. Thank you. So it looks like we have me and Tim Condorino and Karen Barnett as members, and Mike and Doris will come on as members tonight in place of Tim Bleasdale and Victor Eversole.
Very good.
Right? Okay. Welcome, everyone. It's been a while since at least I've been in a meeting here, and good to see everybody. How about item number 2, approval of the September 9th, 2025 meeting minutes? Anybody have a motion on that?
I'll make a motion
to accept. Sorry.
Okay, Mike, you made a motion to accept the minutes?
Yes, I did.
Approve the minutes?
Yes.
Tim, did you second?
I'll second it, correct?
Okay. All in favor of approving the September 9th, 2025 meeting minutes, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
I'll abstain.
Okay. Great, thank you. So then we have item number 3, application receipt. Can you tell us what that is, Mark?
Sure. You want me to read the read-in here?
Sure.
Yeah, this is application PL 25-18. It's the request of Sharon Brown, owner and applicant for a 2-lot re-subdivision for property located at 9 Joe Sand Drive in an R40 zone as shown on plans entitled Brown Cam Re-Subdivision Revised through August 14th, 2025. Coastal site plan review is required in accordance with the Coastal Management Act. This application was officially received by the Commission on September 30th of 2025. It's scheduled tonight for a public hearing, falls within the time frame of a required public hearing date of December 4th, 2025.
Okay, how about the next one? Because I have an angry little critter in the background that's causing some noise, so I'm going to put on mute when I can.
Okay. The next application for receipt is PL 25-19. This is the request of Mikhail Yevchik, applicant, and Esther Poe, owner, for a coastal site plan review and approval for a new single-family home on property located at 2 Forest Street in a VR 7.5 zone in accordance with section 6A.4.1 and 25.4 of the zoning regulations, and as shown on plans entitled Site Plan of 2 Forest Street, Waterford, Connecticut, prepared for Mikhail Yevchik, October 9th, 2025. Action is required by 1/22/26. This application is for receipt only tonight. It will be scheduled for review by the Commission at a later date.
Great, let's move on to item number 4, public hearing, PL 25-18, request of Sharon Brown, owner and applicant for a 2-lot re-subdivision for property located at 9 Josan Drive, R40 zone, as shown on plans entitled Brown Cam Re-subdivision revised through August 14th, 2025. A coastal site plan review is required in accordance with the Coastal Management Act. The public hearing must open by 12/4. And that's what we're going to get into now. Mr. Clark, do you have audio now?
I do. Thank you. Sorry, I had to
Actually,
reboot my
can I
system.
Just, I'm sorry, Brian, just to interrupt you for 1 second. I have an exhibit list to read into the record for this.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure he was on because he had to sign off for a second. So
Good.
okay, go ahead, Mark. Thank you.
Okay, sure. Okay, the exhibit list for application PL 25-18, 2-lot re-subdivision, public hearing. Exhibit 1 is the application. Exhibit 1A is the application form, 9 pages. Exhibit 1B is application form number 2. That's the CAM application, 5 pages. Exhibit 1C is the statement of use. Exhibit 1D is consistency with a plan of conservation and development. Exhibit 1E is a statement of design compatibility, and Exhibit 1F, stormwater management report. Exhibit number 2 is the site plan, Brown Cam re-subdivision, last revision date August 14, 2025. Exhibit 3 is a notice of public hearing advertised in the Day newspaper on Tuesday, November 4th, 2025, and Tuesday, November 11th, 2025. Exhibit 4 is a notice of public hearing to the applicant dated October 14th, 2025. Exhibit 5 is the certificates of mailings. Exhibit 6, notice of the Conservation Commission action. Exhibit 7 is a DEEP site plan review checklist. Exhibit 8, staff report dated November 18, 2025. And Exhibit 9, site plan, Brown Cam re-subdivision, last revision date November 13th, 2025, 4 sheets. Done.
Okay, that's it.
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Clark, you want to take over?
Sure. So good evening, Brian Florick, Florick Surveying LLC, representing Sharon Brown and David Reagan and their kids in a proposed 2-lot re-subdivision. This property located at 9 Josan Drive received subdivision approval in 2008. Back in 2008, under the subdivision regulations, you are allowed 2 flag lots per every regular lot. Since 2008, the subdivision regulations have changed, and now you're allowed 1 flag lot for every 5 regular lots. I'm coming to you to request a waiver of that subdivision regulation, fitting that it was approved in 2008. So David Reagan and Sharon Brown want to build 2 houses for their kids. The plan is for a re-subdivision. The topography has some steep slopes going up into the back. So we're planning for 1 shared driveway. We're reciprocating rights for access and utilities. Dave Cooley Engineering Services designed the driveway, the drainage system. There are 4 rain gardens / detention basins to mitigate the water coming off the hill. Just to back up just a little bit, like Mark had said, the project could receive CAM site plan or CAM subdivision approval through the DEP, and also received a conservation permit. So going forward, what we would like to do is we're proposes 2 residential houses, 1 shared driveway. Like I said, Dave designed the drainage system going down through with the detention basins. There's a small swale along the eastern side of the driveway going down the hill. It's set up with cofferdams so that it mitigates the flow going out onto Josan Drive. With the detention basins / rain gardens, the water will not have any real major impact into the town system for drainage. What the plan is to do is to have an overflow drainage system as it hits the bottom of the hill to hit a pipe going out through the middle of Josan Drive, which had WPCA approval, as long as we meet their conditions, which we're going to do, to tie into the town drainage system. Both lots will be served by municipal water and sewer. Plan to run electric going up through. And like I said, it's pretty straightforward. Received conservation approval as well as deep approval. So, and it's for 2 residential homes, going to be built for brother, sister with reciprocating rights for the driveway. That's kind of a brief synopsis of what we were planning to do. The reason why we had to go re-subdivision is because this lot was part of a 1956 subdivision done for Joe Sand Drive. It's going to be, this probably won't mean much to you guys, but it's parcel A and parcel C is part of the re-subdivision, and then that's why we have to go re-subdivision. If this wasn't a subdivision, I would be able to do a free split with a flag lot. The subdivision hooks me into the flag lot subdivision regulations. So brief synopsis, open up to any questions you guys may have, and thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Florek? No questions? Okay. I want to open it up to the public. Doesn't look like anybody's here, but I do have to run it through 3 times.
Greg?
Yeah.
I do actually have a member of the public here. She thought the meeting was in person, so we invited her into the office here.
Okay. Can we put her a little closer?
Sure.
Oh.
Just sit right at the table.
Hello,
Hi.
State your name and everything.
my name is Jill Neary and I live at 11 Joe Sand Drive. First weird question is, why is it 9 when it's past my house? The neighbor, my side is 1, 3, 5, 7, 11. And then the other side is even. And so 9 would be before my house, but this is after my house. Is there a reason that it's 9?
I'm gonna go ahead, Mark, if you want to answer that. I'm gonna assume that the assessor, because the property wraps around yours, I would assume the assessor assigned it 9. I don't know the exact answer to that question.
Oh. It doesn't matter. It's just weird for the mailman. But so my only concerns were like the overflow. There's a wet spot right next to my property, on their property. There's like a puddle that builds up a lot and then flows into the road. And my neighbors have been nasty to me, the neighbors that are building next to me. And they just sometimes yell at me about things, and they were yelling at me about this puddle that somebody who lived there before me caused it by putting more dirt in my yard or something. And I don't know, but is that what you're talking about, that they've mitigated or figured out that wet spot?
So the wet spot was actually part of the conservation approval. We are not allowed to touch that area. I think I have a series of boulders to protect that wet spot.
So it's not that more is draining into there?
No.
Okay. All right,
No.
so that's why the driveway got moved over?
Correct.
All right, and then, and my only other issue was the wetlands, which is behind my property. And that originally there were plans that were given to me with the purchase of my house that showed that they were allowed to dip into the wetlands area. And it said unencroachable, but it said they had gotten a variance to dip into there in order to put a better embankment to hold up their driveway. Is that no longer going to happen because now they've moved the driveway, or it still is happening?
No, it's not happening at all. That was part of the conservation approval. We have a non-encroachment line set up,
Okay, cool.
so nothing will be touched behind your property.
And of course, it's not on my property, it's their property, but it's wet.
Behind your property, yes, yeah,
Okay.
on their property, not part of yours.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
I'm good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else here that we know that wants to speak? Let me just run through it then. Item number 4, PL-2518. Does any member of the public wish to address the commission with respect to that application, the request of Sharon Brown, owner and applicant for a 2-lot re-subdivision for property located at 9 Joe Sand Drive? R40 zone as shown on plans entitled Brown Cam Re-subdivision revised through August 14, 2025. Coastal site plan review is required in accordance with the Coastal Management Act. I don't see anybody who wants to speak. Is there any member of the public that would like to address the commission with respect to PL-25-18 request of Sharon Brown, owner and applicant for a 2-lot re-subdivision for property located at 9 Josan Drive, R40 zone, as shown on plans entitled Brown Cam Re-subdivision revised through August 14, 2025. Coastal site plan review is required in accordance with the Coastal Management Act. Still no one is. One more time, is any member of the public here that would wish to address the commission with respect to PL-25-18, request of Sharon Brown, owner and applicant for a 2-lot re-subdivision for property located at 9 Josan Drive, R40 zone, as shown on plans entitled Brown Cam Re-subdivision revised through August 14, 2025. And a coastal site plan review is required in accordance with the Coastal Management Act. Okay, there's no other member of the public. Does any member of the commission have any more questions for Mr. Florek? No, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
Greg, I have one question. It's Karen.
Sure.
You mentioned in your opening statement that back in 2008, that this was approved and flag lots were allowed. Do we know when this changed? And Greg, this might be better for you or Mark, but do we know why we changed it? I understand that they had the approval and it expired and now they're asking for it again, but do we know why we changed it?
I don't, Mark, do you know? You're on mute, Mark.
Okay, here we go. Yes, up to both questions. First, to answer your first question, Karen, the flag lots were incorporated into the regulations. Well, flag lot development was incorporated in the regulations in 1995. The prohibition on flag lots and subdivisions was based on the fact that there were flag lots within large subdivisions that were taking away from the open space. That was land that should have been set aside for open space and subdivisions. It was an opportunity for a developer to add some more lots that would essentially wrap around a standard lot within a subdivision, or 2 or 3 lots that would wrap around, and took out a lot of area that was designated for open space. And it's kind of a compromise in the fact that the commission, when they changed, well, when they enacted the restriction on flag lots, they restricted it to subdivisions of 5 lots or more, to allow flag lots on subdivisions of 5 standard lots or more. The way the regulation prohibition reads is no more than 20% of your lots can be flags, and that's where the 5 lots come from. So the idea was to still allow flag lots, but not to use them that would be taking up open space. So that's why that was put into the regulations.
Okay, so in this regard, then, are we losing open space on Josan Drive if we approve this?
No, there is no open space that was associated with this subdivision in the first place for Josan, because Josan Drive was created back in the 50s, and we didn't have the open space requirements back then.
Okay.
And because this is only 2 lots, there's no requirement for open space.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions for the applicant? No, okay. Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
All motion to close the public hearing?
That's Doris, right? No?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, Doris. Motion made to close the public hearing. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second.
Seconded by Mike Elbaum. All in favor of closing the public hearing, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
You are unanimous to close the public hearing. Let's see. We have another public hearing continuation of the Waterford Planning and Zoning Commission, but let's move to item number 5 first. And review this application so we can maybe let some people leave. Item number 5, application review, PL-25-18, request of Sharon Brown, owner and applicant for 2-lot re-subdivision for property located at 9 Josian Drive, R40 zone, as shown on plans entitled Brown Cam re-subdivision revised through August 14th, 2025. Coastal site plan review is required in accordance with the Coastal Management Act. Mark, do you have anything to say on this? Or is it just your staff report?
It is just my staff report, but I there's one thing that just quickly reading it, there's one thing that oh yes, okay, no, I addressed the waiver request as well. Okay, no, it's just my staff report at this point.
Okay. Is there any discussion on this application? Tim Condorino?
No, I'm good. I'm good with it.
No? Karen?
I think I'm good. Thanks.
Okay, Doris?
I'm good.
Mike?
Me too.
Okay.
Good.
Is there, anybody have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve with conditions, PL 25-18, a 2-lot residential subdivision located at 9 Josian Drive, with conditions 1 through 4, and to adopt the findings 1 through 7 of the staff report.
And the staff report's dated November 18th, 2025.
Correct.
Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second it.
Okay, motion made by Tim Condorino, seconded by Doris Crum. Any discussion on the motion? All in favor? Aye.
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 Unanimous. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Clark. Okay, let's go.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. So we have our public hearing for the commission and then a review, but we have a pre-application review that we have some people here for. So let's skip to that one. And then we'll go back to the own commission ones. Item number 6, pre-application review. Pre-application review pursuant to Connecticut General Statute Section 7-159B and Section 22A.5 of the Waterford zoning regulations of a potential application for a proposed subdivision and PDD development at 53 Great Neck Road. Mr. Hanfield, are you here for that?
I am, yes.
Okay, all yours.
All right, thank you very much. Again, Brandon Hanfield with the Antique River Consultants LLC, civil engineer, licensed in the state of Connecticut, representing potential applicants. Adams Builders, Skip and Gordy Adams are both, I believe, on the meeting tonight. We're here for a pre-application, informal discussion, so we're open to any questions during the presentation. I will briefly walk through the existing property so you can familiarize yourself with it, and then go into the proposed subdivision and development and answer any questions you might have.
Okay.
So if you don't mind, I'll share my screen here. If you don't mind allowing me to do that, Mark. Right. Thank you very much. All right, so what I'm sharing now, this is the existing conditions, which is based on the survey performed by Floric Surveying LLC. A 2025 aerial is underneath, and I'll briefly go through where we are in town. So the site is located to the southwest of the Great Neck Road crossing with the existing railroad. So on your screen, Great Neck Road would be to the right. The railroad would be above. Colonial Drive would be at the bottom of the page or below our property. And the parcel we're discussing is outlined in orange. That parcel is 53 Great Neck Road. It's got an area of approximately 37 acres and is currently owned by Hendell's Furniture LLC. The property itself is located in the general industrial zone. as are all the properties to the top right. The little area here is NB, I believe Neighborhood Business Zone. And then all other areas around it are R20. So to the south, Colonial Drive, and to the northwest, Huntington Court and Trumbull Road would all be R20 residential. So the surrounding development along Great Neck Road is generally commercial and industrial uses. So we have the furniture store, gas station, and then the remaining land of Hendel, which is, I believe, a trucking facility and some other uses. And then again, to the bottom or below our property is R20 residential, as well as across the railroad. You'll see on the property itself, there are some wetlands that were flagged by Jim Sipperly. Those are outlined in, I guess, magenta or teal and highlighted. There is also a coastal boundary that runs through the property, which is here in this also teal color. So everything to the left of that line would be within the coastal boundary. And then there's some remaining uses or resources on the property associated with the stone walls you can see. So some former uses within the stone walls, likely from agriculture, as well as a fence line here. So really, everything to the east of this fence and stone wall would have been a former use on the property. And then the last thing I'll point out before jumping into, see if I can get rid of that, sorry. Before jumping into the proposed development is there is a FEMA Zone X line on the property on the far western corner, which is generally associated with the wetlands. And as you'll see, we don't have any activity in that area. So moving on to the proposed subdivision and plan design district. First cover the lot configurations. So what we're proposing is on the top of the page or top of the sheet here, there will be 1 acre that will be a lot line revision with the park property located at 35 Great Neck Road. The purpose of that lot line revision really is to get all of the activities associated with 35 Great Neck within a single parcel. So this 1 acre here will be added to the top right. In terms of the subdivision, we're proposing 1 lot line through the center from left or west to east. Lot 1 will be the remaining land of 53 Great Neck Road. It will remain general industrial and have frontage on Great Neck Road here. Lot 2 will be where the planned design district is located. And everything to the south of that line, I believe, is 20, if I get the number right here, 26.4 acres will be within Lot 2. 9.6 acres will be Lot 1. And Lot 2 will have frontage also on Great Neck Road in the southeast corner, as well as another access frontage back to Great Neck Road in the center, should we need it. The development itself will have 93 units of housing. It'll be a mix of single family and multifamily, which will be townhomes. In the teal, magenta, and yellow, those are the single family lots. So they're located as you're driving in to the left of the road, the main primary access road. There are 47 single family homes, and there'll be a mix of a variety of different houses and house styles similar to what you have on Ivy Hill Village across the street. Everything in orange will be a townhouse style building. Those are a mix of 4 and 5 units each. They will be garage drive-under style buildings with living space on the first and second floor. And each townhouse will have 2 bedrooms. So again, in total, 97 units, of which 47 are single family and 46 are townhouse. Access will be in a primary 24-foot wide access drive at the southeast corner, intersecting with Great Neck Road across from Village Drive. That primary access road brings you through the site. And then off of that primary access road, we have our secondary roads, which are intended to create neighborhoods and try to avoid as much passing traffic from driveways as we could. So we have a neighborhood here, which we foresee being a phase 1, a neighborhood to the rear, again, phase 2, And then we have this circle here for another neighborhood. And then the townhomes themselves will be independent of the single family areas. Let's see here. The mix of unit styles I covered, similar to Ivy Hill Village across the street. Those, what you see in colors, they're a general pad site for a mix of units to fit within. Each of those pads is 15 feet apart. And within that, you'll see, and it's hard to see on this plan, but if I zoom in, there will be areas of expansion or shifting to allow for flexibility in the construction of those units around each pad. So the buildings themselves will always be 15 feet minimum apart. And then amenities would fall within that dash space, so that as the plot plans come in and the site is built out, there will be some flexibility as well as an ability to regulate this in accordance with the master plan that will be submitted. In terms of setbacks, I'll stay in this area here. What we are proposing, any existing lot line, as you see on the southerly lot line where Colonial Drive would be located, we have a minimum setback of 50 feet. So any new single-family structure built along the southerly lot line will be 50 feet from the property line. Same goes for the lot line on the east side, where you see Taylor Fabric and the gas station. We have a 50-foot minimum setback to that existing property line. Where we have proposed property lines, we have a 30-foot minimum setback. So where there's a common lot line with the development, we have a lesser setback, as there's no uses over there currently to provide space to. Other amenities for recreation, we focus the recreation you see in yellow near the townhomes here. Those recreation areas will be centrally located to the townhomes, which need more amenity space. There is adequate space for those units based on the zoning. And then the recreation for the single family homes will be more of a passive area where there'll be walking trails and natural trails through the woods, but no formal amenity space. Open space for the development, we're proposing to provide a conservation easement for all of the wetland areas and areas within 50 feet of those wetlands to the west. So you see in this magenta line, we're proposing all those areas to be a conservation easement open space. It does meet the zoning requirements for its standard multifamily development, which I believe is 20%. And that gives the general overview. I'll just restate the development itself won't have any direct impact on wetlands. We won't be working within the FEMA Zone X areas, and we won't be working to the west or within the coastal boundary. So hopefully we're avoiding most of the natural resources and maintaining those resources as we move forward. So I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have. It is an informal discussion.
Okay, if you can just take the screen back so I can see everyone, I'd appreciate it.
Oh, yes, I can do that.
We might want to share it again. I just
Yeah.
want to be able to see everybody. So it was my thought to have you come in and talk to the commission on this, that a lot of things floating around town as to what's going to happen there and what's being proposed. And I got to tell you, I don't see it, the ability for this project to happen under a PDD. I don't think it meets the goals of the PDD. I think it's an end around our housing and zoning regulations to just allow very, very dense housing. And I think what it's done is it's distorted our affordability of housing in Waterford. I think when we approved the PDD, and I don't know how many people were on the commission at the time when that was approved, but that goal was to have people step down from, retirees and people be able to downsize and have it be affordable so that they could stay in town. It did just the opposite. From the sales prices of those homes, it actually hurt our housing market in terms of affordability, because they're selling at a price where now all the other houses underneath are coming up and filling those price zones of 400, 500,000. And it's actually made it more difficult to afford a house in the town of Waterford. So I don't think there's anything particularly unique about this property that we need a PDD. I don't agree with the density of the housing coming in on a PDD on a property that is prime industrial land there. I just don't think it's meets the goals of the PDD that the commission had when we instituted it. And I don't think it's in conformance with the POCD, either the old one or the new one, or our affordable housing plan. So that's my thoughts on it. Very concerned about it. That's why I wanted you to come in, because I'd like to get everybody's flavor from the commission before people spend, too much money on something that may not have a future. We've tried not to do that to people. We've tried to have open communication with them so that, people don't go down this long road and at the end find out that, it's not gonna get approved. So I'd like to hear from the rest of the commission. That's my thoughts. That's my thoughts from being on the commission when we, from the start of the PDD. Very big concerns about it. So anybody else have any comments on it?
I have a question, just for clarity. There is no affordable housing within this site.
We haven't really discussed the affordability or of the units at this point. We wanted to bring the plan to you with the density and to show you what our proposal was. Listen to the feedback and we can discuss that internally, but I don't think there's been any conversation or hard numbers on what the affordability would be here.
Anybody else, any comments or feedback or?
Greg, I have something. It's Karen.
Sure.
So oddly enough, I drove through Ivy Hill last weekend, and the 15-foot barriers that we agreed to are terrible. There's nothing about this drawing that I like. And having seen what the reality is at Ivy Hill, I agree with you, Greg, that I don't think this is what our POCD wants. I don't think this is what our town wants. And I think that it would be very, very difficult for me to get on board with this plan, especially the way it is right now.
Anybody else have any comments? Mike? Tim?
Yeah, I concur with Karen.
Anything you want to add, Brandon?
No, I appreciate the feedback. Obviously, hearing all of this, I'll go back and discuss it with Skip and Gordy and see if there's anything that we can do on this property to make it more agreeable to the commission. Look harder at the POCD and see if there can be a diversity use for the industrial land, and incorporating multifamily into that and preserving as much of that asset as we can. So hearing your comments, we hear it loud and clear, and we'll go back, discuss it further. And if there's any substantial changes, we'd be happy to come back to the commission and have another discussion and see where we can go from there.
Okay, great. We appreciate you coming in and that's why we wanted to, talk about it now before too far down the road.
Yeah, we really appreciate the opportunity.
Anything else you want to add?
I'm okay. I don't know if Skip or Gordy wants to add anything or if they're on, but I am all set.
Do they want to? I see one name. I don't know what the other name is.
Let's see here.
Nothing.
Just checking to see if nope, I don't see anything that they want to jump on. So we'll report back, work with Mark, and if we need to get back on a meeting, we'll let you know.
Okay, great.
Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you. All right, let's go back to item number 4, PL-25-12. application of the Waterford Planning and Zoning Commission to amend the zoning regulations, sections 1, definitions 3.41, 3.41.1, 3.41.2, 3.41.3, and 6.1.2 as they pertain to agritourism. This is the continuation of a public hearing from September 9th, 2025.
Okay, I never got the opportunity, actually, since then, to read the exhibit list into the record.
Okay,
So why don't I do that now, and then we can just go ahead and discuss it.
great.
Okay, so for the exhibit list application PL 20-25-12, exhibit 1 is the application, 9 pages. Exhibit 2 is the proposed regulation amendments. Exhibit 3, CCOG referral. Exhibit 4, public hearing notice run in the Day newspaper, July 8, 2025, and July 15, 2025. Exhibit 5 is a copy of the application submitted to the town clerk's office. Exhibit number 6, certified copy of sections 1, 3, and 6 of the Town of Waterford zoning regulations, revised through the effective date of June 4th, 2025. Exhibit 7, CCOG's response. Exhibit 8, staff report, and Exhibit 9, Deep's response. And that's it.
Okay. Let's just run through, it's our application, so we might as well just go right to the public, right?
Yes.
Okay, is there any member of the public who would like to address the commission with respect to PL-25-12, application of the Waterford Planning and Zoning Commission to amend the zoning regulations, sections 1, definitions 3.41, 3.41.1, 3.41.2, 3.41.3, and 6.1.2 as they pertain to agritourism?
Yes. Kyle Stoddard. Can anybody hear me?
Yep.
Kyle Stoddard, 116 Old Colchester Road. Little speech I'd like to say first before I get into it.
Sure.
Thank you, members of the board, for your time. My name is Kyle Stoddard and Mary Stoddard from 116 Old Colchester Road, My Little Lady's Farm. We operate a seasonal agritourism farm and event venue in our town. I'm here to speak about fairness and consistency and how the seasonal agricultural businesses are regulated. Agritourism is, by definition, a seasonal industry. Our farm can only host events during the months and other farms when weather and land conditions make it safe and practical. That already limits us far more than typical year-round businesses in town. In addition to restrictions cap the number of events we're allowed to hold within the already short season, it puts a unique disadvantage that others businesses don't face in town. No other business type in town is limited by the artificial cap on how many customers they can serve during the period they're legally allowed to operate. Restaurants are not limited to how many meals they can serve. Stores are not limited to how many days they're open. Construction companies are not limited to how many projects they can take on in a given quarter. Yet agritourism farms, already bound by weather, growing season agricultural schedules, are being asked to operate under restrictions no other comparable businesses face. Our events directly support farms, local vendors, local florists, caterers, photographers, local schools, and small businesses throughout the community. Every event generates income that stays here, circulates here, strengthens our rural economy. The more freedom we have to operate with our natural seasons, the more the community can benefit. We also remain committed to follow the noise regulations, traffic management plans, and all the established standards that protect our neighbors and rural character. We're asking to allow to operate fairly within the season-dependent, unlimited, and places on us, with addition to having no cap. Agritourism is agricultural. Agriculture is a backbone of this town and has been for years. Fairness means letting farmers fully utilize a short window we have to sustain our business for the entire year. I just want to say thank you for letting me speak on that. There is also something from the regulation book that I have under agritourism. And I do want to say it was passed on January of 18, and then it was revised on 6/4 of 25, I believe, if I'm right on that date. Which I do think that the town and the commission has done a lot for it, and I think that it is getting better and better. But I think it can get just a little bit more. Section F, no more than one agritourism event shall take place simultaneously. No more than 2 events shall take place in any week running through Monday through Sunday. And no more than 1 event shall take place on any weekend running from Friday through Sunday. No more than 25 events should happen in the year, in the calendar year. Each day of a multi-day event shall count toward the maximum number of agritourism events permitted in a calendar year. I think it needs to be cleaned up quite a bit. And I'm gonna talk for, I want to say all farmers, where I don't see the fairness in limiting them where nobody else in town is limited. If it's a church, you can have any event that you want, as many events as you want, and any other business in town. So I think that kind of concludes everything I have to say. I just thank you very much for you guys' time. And I'd love to hear what you guys have to say.
You're mute, Greg.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions for Mr. Stoddard? I do, if nobody else does. Okay, Stoddard, what would you suggest that be in paragraph F?
What I suggest, and it goes, I know there's another farm in town that you have, if you're having one event, so they do farm to table dinners, they can do 3 consecutive days in a row because they're running under the same event. So if you have a farm to table dinner, you're having different people at that dinner every single night. Whole new group of people coming in. I'm going to give the weddings as you can only have 1 wedding on a weekend. I don't see why you can't run Friday or Saturday and Sunday under the same operation. And I believe the 25 number, even though it's up from 20, which is good, but like I said, I just think it can get a little bit better where you're so limited to what you can do. If you know.
No, listen, I get it. I get what you're saying, but what would you want it to read?
I would like it to read that you can have as many agritourism events in a 7-day period as you would like, just like every other business in town.
So just changing the number 25.
Changing the number 25 and changing that you just can't have a 50th birthday or a farm to table dinner. Well, you can have a farm to table dinner 3 days in a row. I want to see everything that you can have 3 days in a row. As of right now, if we host a wedding, we can have one on a Friday or a Saturday. You can't have it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. You just have it 1 day and that's it. And every other, you go down the Langleys, you can have a wedding every day if you like. I just don't like limiting a farm to just doing that. I don't think that's fair.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Anybody have any questions for him? No? Okay. So is there any other member of the public here? Doesn't appear to be. Okay, so let me just run through the title again. Is there any member of the public that wishes to address PL-25-12 application of the Waterford Planning and Zoning Commission to amend the zoning regulations sections 1 definition 3.41, 3.41.1, 3.41.2, 3.41.3, and 6.1.2 as they pertain to agritourism? Is there any member of the public here that would wish to address the commission with respect to PL-25-12 application of the Waterford Planning and Zoning Commission to amend the zoning regulation sections 1 definitions 3.41, 3.41.1, 3.41.2, 3.41.3, and 6.1.2 as they pertain to agritourism? And just the last time, is there any member of the public here who wishes to address the commission with respect to PL-25-12, application of the Waterford Planning and Zoning Commission to amend the zoning regulation sections 1, definitions 3.41, 3.41.1, 3.41.2, 3.41.3, and 6.1.2 as they pertain to agritourism? Okay, hearing none, is there a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll motion to close the public hearing.
Motion made by Doris. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mike to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody against? Okay, public hearing is closed. Now we go to item number 6. Nope, I'm sorry. Item number 5. PL-25-12, application of the Waterford Planning and Zoning Commission to amend the zoning regulations, sections 1, definitions 3.41, 3.41.1, 3.41.2, 3.41.3, and 6.1.2 as they pertain to agritourism. Tim, this was your idea from the outset, something that I thought was a great idea. I liked it immediately. Glad we're taking it up. What do you think of how it reads and the comments that you've heard?
I would tend to agree in reference to section F and looking at it a little more critically after hearing Mr. Stoddard's comments. I would agree that it is fairly restrictive in the sense that 2 per week or 1 per weekend. And then when we put that further cap of 25 per calendar year, I think it almost becomes a little bit crippling, especially for events that aren't multi-day, as he kind of brought to light, like the farm to table, where he could, in essence, cover a whole weekend. It's a little busy, and when I read it, I really have to pay strict attention to try to understand that section F.
You have a proposal?
I would agree that we clean the wording up as far as the 1 per weekend or 2 per week. I think both are very constrictive. I don't see why we couldn't do something strictly per week and open up a weekend, especially since that's when a lot of these events would occur. There's not a lot of weddings midweek. That might be one idea. I'd like to hear from the rest of the commission and see what your thoughts are as well.
Okay, anybody else have any comments on it?
I think we should make this easier for agritourism to really thrive in Waterford. We're being a little too restrictive, and if we want to make sure that we keep people in Waterford, that we have people coming into Waterford, then we need to change the wording here.
Okay. Karen?
I was just going to say, I think Mr. Stoddard makes a great point in comparing it to a Langley's or a church. Like, we are unnecessarily restricting them from conducting business when we don't apply the same standard to other, I would say maybe not non-traditional businesses in town. And I would agree that we might need to make some changes to that 3.41.2F.
Okay. Mike?
Yeah, I totally agree. Making it as restrictive as it is, I mean, you just can't run a business like that and strive. We're just making it a little harder. We need to make it easier.
Okay, so how about if we put no more than 1 agritourism event shall take place simultaneously, period? Anybody have an issue with taking out no more than 2 events shall take place in any week running from Monday to Sunday, and no more than 1 event shall take place on any weekend running from Friday through Sunday?
You said, Greg, removing that wording?
Yep, just putting a period, removing the period from the through Sunday period, moving the period to after simultaneously and taking out the rest of that sentence.
No, I think that would be good.
What's everyone else?
Looks
This is
good.
Karen. Just a more quick question. I'm going back a few weeks here, and I think Tim Condarino made a good point the last time we had this conversation, that there are people in town operating outside of these regulations, and the people who are complying with them are being limited. Is there a way that we can rope in the people who are flouting these right now? I mean, I don't know if it's not with this F thing, but it occurs to me that while we're talking about it, we should probably address that, is there any kind of, like, what's the enforcement, I guess, on this to make sure that we have people operating in accordance with the rules that we're setting up?
I got the impression, Karen, that they weren't necessarily flouting this regulation. They were kind of outside this regulation. And so to your second point, that this regulation, if you follow it, is restricted.
Well, no, I agree with that. I'm just
Yeah.
saying that as we're talking about, is this what we want to do or not? I think Tim made a good point that there are people who are walking like a duck and quacking like a duck and calling themselves a goose and not in compliance. And I'm just wondering if there's nothing in here about enforcement, is I guess my point. So and I'm not saying that people want to turn on their neighbor and, rat them out or whatever, but as we're talking about the changes to this regulation, do we need to consider like how to make people comply if they are doing these activities, but they are not somehow saying like, oh, no, my tree farm is not, even though it says right in here, tree farm. If that makes sense.
If I could, I think that the way that that's happening is, those businesses are not considered farms or agriculture. Even though they're sharing the same events identically, they're not classified by the town as a farm. So that in essence has given them an unfair advantage to be able to conduct these events when this is only pertaining to properties that are considered a farm in town. I'm not gonna name individual, but if we just looked at, cut flowers, Christmas trees, all those aren't necessarily registered farms in town, and that's how they're able to conduct this, so-called legal in town.
Yeah, that's why it's sort of not, like you said, not flouting it, Karen. It's just kind of just outside what this regulation says. So, but I think by bringing those things into this now, they might have to follow this. Everybody would have to follow this, but they're all out. The Christmas tree farms and the carriage rides and the corn mazes and the horseback riding and the ice cream facility and the garden tour, wine tasting. I think now it is all encompassing, but it wasn't before.
Okay. I mean, that's the thing. I think as we make this to the same standard that other people are already getting that privilege, then I would be in favor of that.
Well, except for changing these limitations in F, I think we need to do that.
Yeah, I think changing F, allowing the agritourism people to compete.
Yeah. So did you have a problem with that, changing that first sentence to just take place simultaneously, period? Karen?
I agree with F.
Okay.
As you changed. Yeah.
Okay, so then we go to the next sentence. Well, Mike, did we get your comment on that?
Right.
You agree.
You agree? I agreed.
Okay. So then we go to no more than 25 total agritourism events may be permitted in a calendar year. Do we want that sentence? And if we do, what's the number?
I don't see that we should have a number. If we're gonna, as we've all kind of stated, if we're gonna have, other businesses be able to run things, unlimited, then I don't think this should be limited. And as far as problems, I see the last sentence in here says impacts on a neighborhood. They could be handled by a case-by-case basis if something becomes a problem, just as we would with a restaurant or church or so on with parking or, issues.
And so understanding that they do need a special permit for it, and they have to get a zoning compliance permit, as stated in M, right? As stated in N for Nancy at the end. So it's 3.41.1 is they have to get a special permit, and then N is they have to have a zoning compliance permit for the activities. So there is an enforcement mechanism there. I guess correct me if I'm wrong, but if they're not doing what they're supposed to be doing, then they don't get a permit for the next event, right?
No, that's not written in. There's nothing in the regulations right now that would prohibit if they didn't, if they didn't comply and enforcement action, there's nothing that prevents them from any future events within the regulations. So we could add that in there.
Okay, well, I mean, I read it as the zoning compliance permit shall be required for any activity or event to ensure compliance with the special permit.
Yep.
So, okay, so we need to,
For that particular event,
yeah, for that particular event, okay.
right?
So we should have something in there for O that says,
Yep. If there's there's an active enforcement action,
right,
no other events will be permitted.
no zoning compliance permits will be issued, right?
Right. Okay.
Okay,
Which is really gonna make sure that because a lot of these events are scheduled months ahead of time, especially the
Well,
weddings, right?
people need to be in compliance.
So it's just understand that's gonna be a very contentious, a very contentious thing.
Well, what does anybody think about it?
Mark, I think you covered this before, but just refresh my memory. So in the case of a wedding, that would count as one event. So each wedding requires a zoning compliance permit, or a permit covers him for weddings per se.
No, they would need to apply for a zoning compliance permit for each wedding. Okay, because that is the zoning compliance permit is what authorizes the use and ensures that the event complies with the special permit that's issued for the entire business. What's that? And a zoning compliance permit is just an over-the-counter, we've relaxed the amount of time that the zoning official is given to review zoning compliance applications, from, I think it was from 30 days down to 7. So now he has 7 days to review an application, 7 days prior to the event. So someone can submit an application a week prior to an event occur, to whenever they have an event scheduled. And if, number one, if the application doesn't comply with the special permit and the zoning regulations as well, then, they've already scheduled an event, could be a wedding, right? We got a lot of people coming in, but they're not gonna get a zoning compliance permit for that. There's gonna be a lot of, that's gonna be very, very contentious, to say the least.
Well, I missed your point on what's going to be contentious.
I think not issuing a permit because whenever the application doesn't comply, if the application doesn't comply, excuse me, doesn't comply with a special permit, they've already scheduled the event months ahead of time. They submit it 7 days prior to the event. There's not an opportunity for rectifying the application to make it comply with the regulations prior to the event taking place.
Yeah, but they shouldn't wait till 7 days.
They shouldn't, but they do. we get applications in 7 days prior to the event. Because it's written in there as 7 days, that's what's being, that's what's being taken advantage of.
Hey, Greg and Mark.
Yeah.
What if instead of refusing to issue a new permit, there's a fine imposed until compliance is attained? So it's on the venue, not on the customer
A fine?
So if the venue is having a parking issue, right?
Yes.
Until they remedy this parking issue, they get fined,
No,
but
we don't. Yeah. Waterford doesn't have the ability to fine through zoning.
Can you just explain, so how did we get to the special permit and zoning compliance for every event? How did we get there?
Okay, I'll explain the differences. The special permit is not for every event. The special permit is to establish the business, okay, on the property. So once a special permit is issued, for example, and since Kyle is here on, I use my Little Lady's Farm as the example. Special permit was granted for My Little Lady's Farm to do events. Okay, and there were conditions associated with that special permit for them to conduct the events. Now, when every event is scheduled, all they do is come in for a zoning compliance permit. Special permit's already been granted. So they can operate events on the farm. Each individual event gets permitted through a zoning compliance permit to ensure that that event complies with a special permit for the entire business. That's the difference between the two. Yeah. So you have a special permit, the commission approves the use of the property as agritourism. Now, when they go to implement those conditions and implement that special permit, every event now gets a review by the zoning official to ensure that that event complies with the conditions of the special permit. And that's what's handed back. That's the approval to operate that specific event on that particular day.
So Mark, I mean, you and I had a discussion on this, and I think it was my idea to move it down to 7 from 30, because I just thought it was a little too long for quick events. I mean, I still think even 7 days is too long for like a mercy meal after a funeral. So I'm okay getting rid of that. I mean, what do we need a zoning compliance permit for if they're under a special permit for their business? No other business does that.
No, that's correct. Would they need a zoning compliance permit? I would say yes, they would, because we still need to ensure that whatever special permits are issued, all these events are different, right? And they're held on different days, different events are held. They would need to ensure that the event itself, each individual event, complies with each of the conditions associated with that special permit. As stated before, if they're out of compliance, let's say, they're issued a special, that event for, that wedding is issued a zoning compliance permit to operate. If that is being, when that event takes place, if it's not in compliance, okay, then they're in violation of the special permit. If we're not issuing zoning compliance permits, then we have nothing to hold back now, right? As stated earlier, can we refuse zoning compliance permits for the next event? If we have no way of accounting for those events through a zoning compliance permit, then we wouldn't be able to enforce the conditions of a special permit.
How do we enforce a violation of a special permit now?
We go out and we issue, an enforcement order.
Right. Well, why wouldn't we do that in this case?
Because these are events that are specific time events. If you issue a special permit for a commercial operation, for a store, let's say, that requires a special permit, in a commercial district, and a special permit is issued, that store is continually operating. The same business, the same hours, the same number, the same days of the week. And that what happens here is that each event is different. And so and especially if they're held on the weekends, the impact has already happened. Whatever has happened to the neighbors in terms of impact, however the event is run, that's all done. And then, there's nothing for us to enforce at that point. If we don't have the ability to have a zoning compliance permit, because the event's over with, and now we're on to the next event that may occur the next weekend.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm good with getting rid of that. I don't know what anyone else thinks, but I think it's a lot of work on the zoning official. I think it is a compliance and enforcement nightmare when we can still just enforce the special permit just like anybody else. I'm good with getting rid of it, and I completely understand what you're saying, Mark. I just disagree with it. I don't, I understand what you're saying.
Yep.
I think it's. I just think it's. I think it's unnecessary.
Sure. Well, I think one of the things to consider too is that, as Kyle stated in his remarks, that no other businesses in town have these restrictions, right? I want to point out to the commission that these businesses in town are in commercial districts, or they're in industrial districts, and if they don't have these restrictions, they're located appropriately. The farming and the agritourism are in residential zones. And now with the way that Waterford has been developed over the years, right, you now get more neighbors, more residential uses, more densely residential uses surrounding these farms. So there's more of an impact to the neighborhood, which is why these restrictions were put in place in the first place. The agritourism was not designed to be the only business operating. Agritourism was designed to augment a farming operation, to allow a farmer to have an other means, not the only means, but an other means to keep his farm operation going and to keep it financially viable. It wasn't designed to replace a farm. So it wasn't designed to be the business. So that's why the farms are located mostly within residential districts. And there's potential for impact on neighbors that we have to think about as well. How these events would operate.
So I have one question, and maybe Mark, the answer to that.
Yep.
I've noticed that a few of the churches in town, especially like St. Paul's, have been having a lot of special events. They're trying to put a new roof on or something. Do they pull a special permit every time they have like a Valentine's Day dance, or I think they're having a Santa bazaar thing? Do we hold them to this requirement? Because that would be outside of their normal operations.
No. When, I can't speak specifically for St. Paul's Church and what events are going on there specifically, but what happens is when churches that I'm aware of that have been approved, for a site plan for a new church, there's already space that's been designated in that church for events. They have kitchens set up, so they do those there as well. But no, and those spaces and events were already part of the formal approval process that established the church there, through the site plan and or special permit. So that had already been established.
Mark, about banks? Charter Oak has concerts.
Yes.
That's a special permit?
No, it's not a special permit, but it's a zoning compliance permit that was issued for each.
Okay. For each one?
Yes.
I see.
Yes. The library as well has also had outdoor events, and they've had zoning compliance permits issued for those.
I'm in favor of what Greg mentioned, that we take enforcement, should it be necessary, through the means that we would with any other business with the zoning. And then I'm not sure if a special permit can be revoked or modified if there's continual problems. I would imagine there has to be some remedy if a special permit isn't being adhered to, right?
Yes, yes, there is certainly, and that was when we established the agritourism regulations. If I recall, that was one of the I want to call it one of the levers, okay, that we can implement if there's non-compliance, is to pull the special permit. So now no events can take place, and they have to be keenly aware of that. You know, I still think that at least the issuance of a zoning compliance permit to ensure that this takes place and that the event complies is important in order for the zoning official at least to enforce the conditions of the special permit and his zoning compliance permit at the same time. But certainly it's up to the commission. They can, this is your regulation, right? So, certainly whatever you would want to incorporate in the regulation is up to you. I just want to relay what we've been experiencing on this.
All right, so let's get back to, before we go back to F, let's go to N. Does anybody want to keep that? Want to get rid of it?
For
Tim?
what, Fred? What, N and November?
Yes. And,
I'm in favor for the special permit, but not the zoning compliance. I think it's repetitive. And as we stated, it's not required for other businesses doing business in town, repetitive events. And we have a very small number. We're not talking hundreds. We're not even talking tens. We're talking a handful.
Two.
Right.
Well, maybe more than two, but
if even that.
yeah. All right, so you're in favor of getting rid of N?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Karen?
Make sure people are in compliance and we have the tools to keep them once they've got, I just want to make sure that it's not like, oh, they got their special permit, they're off to the races and it doesn't matter anymore. I feel like we've had that happen a couple times in the past, and I just want to be cautious about that. But if you guys think that we can still enforce this and hold people to what they say they're going to do, then I would be in favor.
Okay. Doris?
Yeah, I think it's very repetitive, so I would agree with Tim. We need to get rid of the compliance permit and keep the special permit.
Mike?
I agree as well, but if it ends up not working, can we put it back?
I'm sorry, what was that?
If we do end up, doing away with it and it becomes an issue.
Yep.
Can we put it back?
Sure, yeah, right. The commission can modify the regulations however they see fit. So, yeah, you can find that if it doesn't work, you can.
I think what we have to do is on the special permit, when they come in for the special permit of the business, we have to find out if they say it's weddings, it's this, it's X, Y, Z, A, B, C. And so if they come in for X, Y, Z, A, B, C for a zoning compliance permit, it's redundant. So, we just have to make sure that they tell us what they want to do and they stay within those 7, 8, 2, 4, whatever things they want to do. And then there should be no problem. So, all right. So it looks like everybody wants to get rid of N, Mark.
So wait,
what?
Greg.
Yep.
Sorry, it's Karen. One last question. I just want to make sure that if we change the regulation today and someone is issued a special permit while the regulation does not have anything to do with this compliance, can they then say, oh no, we're grandfathered if we change it in the future?
That's what I thought.
Like Mike said.
Mark seems to think we can change it, but I don't know that we could change it to them. But I still don't know I still don't know how it changes the ability to find them in violation of their special permit anyway, which is what the point of this whole thing is, I think, right?
As we can hold people accountable, I'm fine with getting rid of N as in Nancy or November. I just want to make sure that we are giving ourselves the tools we need to enforce the regulation.
I think,
Okay. Oh, go ahead, Mark.
okay. You guys can make that call. I think by removing the ability of the zoning official to issue a zoning compliance permit for each event, we now have events that can occur whenever, for as long as they can, for continual days. And, I'm harping back on the fact that we need to recognize that there are residential uses, that there are single-family homes that surround a lot of these farms. And this was doing the zoning compliance permit and limiting the number of days and when these events can occur allows these residents to have some peaceful days, some quiet days, especially on a weekend. That's why we didn't, that's why initially we didn't want events carrying over for an entire weekend or having more than one event on a weekend, to at least allow the neighbors to have some, some time to enjoy their property as well. So I think even going so far as removing the ability to issue zoning compliance permits, now we have no idea and no sense as to when these events are going to happen. We have no idea or sense as to how long, how many weekends, and when the neighbors come in, and they come in and complain about the noise and the amount of activities that are now going on, we don't have any mechanisms in place.
So it needs to be an either or. Either we eliminate the number of days in F, or we eliminate the compliance, zoning compliance. Maybe we don't do both right away.
Mark, isn't it true we can restrict things in the special permit? Right?
Correct. Yes. Yep. You can do hours of operation, you can do days of the week, you can do things like that within the special permit.
Yeah. I mean, that, Carrie, I think we had this discussion recently on something. Like, my big thing is special permit gives us a lot of discretion to limit or expand or prevent, allow, whatever, different activities. That's why the special permit, I think, is great. I think we can, if there's a particular property that's surrounded by residential, I think it makes a difference in terms of hours or a number of events than if it's in the middle of the forest. And so I don't think, I'm okay, frankly, eliminating the number of events and N, because we can take care of it in a special permit. But we've got to come to a consensus that everybody agrees on so we can get this done. So I don't know what everybody's thinking on that, but I'm good with the special permit restrictions.
I would
Agree.
agree.
I agree.
Okay. How do you feel about that, Karen? I think you're
Having
there's a
never
bad- okay, there we go.
filled out a special permit, to be honest with you, because I don't run a business that requires them. And I would say that if we can be as restrictive as you say, I just feel like there have been times in the past where, things sound great, and then we find out the reality is not exactly, because we left the language too open. And I agree that, the agritourism should be allowed to compete just the way a church or another business in town, if they want to have a sidewalk sale or whatever. But I just want to make sure that, we talk about the special permit as like this catch-all wonder thing. I just want to make sure that it, like you say, is going to protect the neighbors and the other people who live around. I don't want to inhibit their business, but I also want to make sure that people have the the piece of their own property as well. What do they call it? Quiet enjoyment, right?
So,
But
yeah,
if we
go ahead, Karen.
No, just if we think that the special permit can be specific enough to kind of meet the needs of both the applicant and the neighbors, then I'd be willing to look at that. I think what we should, if we do make a bunch of changes here, I would like to make sure that we are not going to fall into the like, oh, that person doesn't have to comply because when they applied, the rules were this. If there is some kind of change needed in the future, that's my only concern. But if we think the special permit can handle it, then I would be in favor of the special permit.
How long does a special permit last, Mark? Can we limit that?
Special permit, what? I'm sorry.
How long does that last?
Special permit lasts forever, it runs with the land. Once the commission issues a special permit, it stays with the property.
And that's as long as all the conditions are being met.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Right.
And Karen, on the flip side of making sure that the neighbors are protected, we can actually make it more restrictive in the special permit than if we have a regulation, because if we have a particular property that is really surrounded by maybe a school or a a subdivision, we can actually make it more restrictive than we would in just the regulation. So that's why I my feeling on special permit. I think it's great. I think it allows us a lot of flexibility and discretion. So I'm in favor of it because I think we can take care of it in that. But we just need to decide as a whole here what we want to do.
I think that as long as the ability exists to withdraw those, it doesn't sound like right now that we could withdraw a special permit, whereas a zoning compliance, we can withdraw a lot easier if there are problems. And that's the only thing I would say that I would want to make sure that we can enforce the special permit as it's written. It can be the most restrictive thing, but if they're not following it, I just want to make sure that we can hold people accountable.
We have to understand too that once, the special permits that are existing out there now, okay, would not need to abide by any other special restrictions or conditions that you can come up with now, because that special permit has already been issued. And so you can't go back on that special permit and require more conditions or any other restrictions on that in order to enforce it. So that's kind of grandfather, you can consider that as being grandfathered in.
But we couldn't change that with this anyway.
Right.
With anything we do.
But that's, I think, where these zoning compliance things come in, where you can have a special permit, but if we put in some new, like, oh, you can't play music after 11, and it's like, well, my special permit doesn't say that. It's like, well, but your zoning compliance does.
Yeah, no, the zoning compliance cannot go beyond it cannot go beyond any restrictions that the special permit is either has or hasn't put in place.
Yeah, we can't go further.
So once we issue a special permit, that's it then.
Well, the special permit would allow, the difference being is that the special permit allows the commission some more discretion itself to add to add conditions, specifications, things like that, to the use. Okay, it allows them to kind of drill down and to ensure that the use is operating and it's not impacting. When it is operating, it's not, it's not impacting the neighbors, it's not impacting adjacent properties, things like that. That's what the special permit can do. If it's if it's written that way, okay, if those specifications are put in to the special permit. But if they're not, if a special permit has been issued previously and there's no special conditions on there in that special permit, then we can't impose any other restrictions that don't occur on that special permit.
So as it stands, we have what, maybe 5 agritourism businesses in town,
2,
and they already have special permits?
yes, yes, and the commission approved both. My Little Lady's Farm and
That's-
Quaker Hill Farms up in Quaker.
Farm.
Yeah, but with this regulation, they can do more now. They may have to come in, and amend their special permit, but they can do more than what we allow them to do.
So their special permit as it is right now is more restrictive than what we're offering right now.
Yes. Right, Mark?
Not the way it's written, I believe, and you know, I wasn't expecting to review, you know, that particular special permit. I was just looking at the regs, but I can certainly review that special permit and see. I believe what that special permit did was reflect regulations as they were written in, or, you know, reflected the sections of the regulations as they were written in the zoning regs. Okay, they didn't go above and beyond any of those at the time, right? Because at the time we had the 35-day review period, or the 30-day review period by the zoning official. We had, you know, other sections of the regulation and specifics. That particular special permit didn't, it essentially reflected the regulations at the time.
Right. So it's not, so we're offering them more than what they have now. Their special permit is more restrictive than what we're offering them now. So
That's
they would be able to come in and amend their special permit to allow them to do some of these other things that we're allowing them to do now.
We may not have to, because that special permit did not specifically, you know, as we change the regulations, the special permit refers to that section of the regulations, and we're changing the zoning reg, it still refers to the same section. And so now, if that section has changed, if the language in that section has changed, that's still reflected in the special permit. So they don't have to come in and get a modified special permit if the conditions in that special permit reflect what's in the zoning regulations.
Yeah. Okay. We'd have to check though.
Yes.
We should have to check it out. But there's a chance that it's more restrictive than what we're allowing now.
Yes.
We have to remember too, we still have the whole section 3.41.2 and all of those sections that are in there that still apply, which I think cover a lot of the things that have come up in the past with, you know, amplified music and times of music. That's all still stands. None of that's been taken away. They still have to adhere to everything in that.
Right.
So to my point, if their special permit just says must comply with 3.41.2, whatever that regulation is what they have to comply to. So we could, in essence, if we made changes to the regulation, change things in the future that they would have to comply with. Is that right?
Well, they would still have to comply with what's in the zoning regulations. I have to look at the special permit and see how that was written. If the
I'm not sure you could be more restrictive, Karen. I would be pretty upset if I was a zoning and then you tried to take something away from me without being grandfathered in. I'm not sure they'll be able to do that. You can certainly give them more, but I don't think you can give them less.
Okay.
Unless Mark, you feel differently, but
yeah, no.
I was wondering, to Mike's point, like if someone is out of compliance but they have a special permit, then I feel like we aren't really able to do anything.
Well, if they're out of compliance with a special permit, they would have to come back in front of the commission. And the commission can then revoke the special permit. It can't be done strictly by the zoning official, because the commission issues a special permit. So the commission can
Okay.
take it away, okay? The zoning official issues a zoning compliance permit, and he can take that away. Okay, so I think, you know,
So
in
there-
terms, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Their process, it's just longer, is what you're saying.
The process is
The com-
longer. Yes.
Yeah, the commission can, if they're a serial, non-compliant property. Okay, that's really what I needed to be, is that at some point in time, there is a way to keep people compliant if they are not in compliance. Okay,
That's, yeah, it just depends on the rapidity of it, whether or not, you know, it happens a lot quicker with the zoning official than it does with the commission.
Okay, so let's get back to N if we can. And Karen, I don't want to cut you off, but are you done or?
that's fine. Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine.
So let's go back to N. We getting rid of N? Yes, Tim?
I say
Mike,
yes.
yes.
Yes,
Yes,
Doris, Karen? Yes? No? Karen, the audio is struggling for you.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay. All right, so we're gonna get rid of N. Now when we go back to F, what are we doing? Are we putting a number in there or not a number?
I'd say no number.
I'd
Or
say
no
no
number.
number.
Mike, no number. Me, no number. Tim, no number. Karen, no number. And we put, you know, we can address that in a special permit. So we're going to take out the next two sentences, Mark, the ones that begin with no more than 25 and each day of a multi-day, and take those two sentences out. It says the commission may impose conditions to further limit the number and time of activities, events to mitigate adverse impacts in neighboring properties. I think the word further should come out, and then we should take that sentence and put it somewhere as part of the maybe its own letter. Maybe that's an N,
Okay, and now,
right? Do you have an issue with that?
No, I
Make-
think that's good. Remove further limit. Is that what you're saying?
No, just further. The commission may impose conditions to limit the number and time of activities and events to mitigate adverse impacts to neighboring properties. We can do that in the special permit. But further means we're already doing, you know, further indicates that there's 25 or some sort of number, and we're going to further that. So we'll take the word further out. I think,
Right, I would agree.
and put that sentence, that last sentence somewhere maybe in now letter N.
okay, so keep or have that sentence read, the commission may impose conditions to limit the number and time of events to mitigate adverse impacts to neighborhoods or to neighboring properties.
Yeah, activities and events, right? Oh no.
Well, no, because, you know, don't forget what we started with on this was,
Yeah. All right. Yep.
so, you know, we're kind of getting off of what the initial purpose of the regulation amendments.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So take that sentence and put that at
Somewhere,
the end.
yep.
And we're taking those two sentences out.
Taking out the sentences from, let's see, well, we're putting a period going to F at the end of simultaneously
Yeah. And then taking everything out until, oh, that's it. Taking everything out.
up
Because we're moving,
to, yeah.
we're
through
moving that.
calendar year, and take that revised sentence, the commission may impose conditions, and locate that somewhere else in
Yeah. We can just make that N.
sure. Okay,
Okay. Okay. You want to just do that for next meeting?
yep, right, I can revise that, and I can present it to the commission at the next meeting.
Okay. Is that good with everyone? Okay.
Yep.
Okay. Administrative review number 7, draft 2024-25 planning and zoning annual report. Has everybody looked at that? Any issues with that? I'll take that as a no. Anybody have any issues? No? Okay. So do we need a vote on that, Mark?
Yes, we do.
Is there a motion to approve the annual report of the Planning and Zoning Commission for the fiscal year 2024 to 2025?
Nope.
No, we need a motion, no. We need a motion to approve it. Anybody? Mike, you want to make a motion? There you
I'll
go.
make a motion to approve it.
To approve the annual report?
Yes, the annual report.
Great.
I'll
I'll
second.
second.
Seconded by Karen. All in favor of approving the annual report
Aye.
of the Planning and Zoning Commission fiscal year 24-25?
Aye.
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 Okay. 2026 meeting schedule? Any issues with that?
I saw a couple things on there and now I can't find the piece of paper. But one thing I was going to mention is a lot of our meetings are the day following a holiday. I don't know if anybody, and the first day of school one, I would like to move the August 26th, I think it is, or 25.
Well, we've been also trying to put them down onto one meeting a month too, so that's been helpful. So hopefully we can get rid of that meeting the night before school. I think one of the biggest problems we have, Karen, is the meeting space, right? And we can't move to Mondays because there's something on Mondays, Wednesdays, something else. Like we have Tuesdays. So
Yep.
I don't know what we can do about it, Mark. What can we do?
Well, certainly we can be flexible when the time comes, right? And we can take a look to see what's on our agenda.
Yeah.
For that particular day. And if we have to move it or even go so far as if we, to have a special meeting if we need to, we can always hold that too. So if there's any conflicts, for some of these dates, we can certainly work around that.
Yeah. Like November 24th, it's 2 days before Thanksgiving. Like, I don't think we're going to want to meet that day. But if there's something urgent, then we move it to the 17th or we move it to the next meeting or something. But we got to have a schedule. So 3 days before Christmas too. Not sure that's going to be a big fan favorite.
Well,
Yeah.
if we might want to get together and share, I don't know.
Yeah, right.
We'll pass out, I don't know, candy canes or something.
Yeah.
We'll work on that. Yeah.
So what are you thinking, Karen?
Yeah, I think it was that Thanksgiving one. I just found my calendar that it was the first day of school one and the Thanksgiving one. But if we're trying to go toward one a month, then let's just leave it for now.
Anybody have an issue with the one a month?
No issue.
Yeah.
No issue.
Yeah. Okay. Good. But we're keeping these flexible, so maybe March 10th, we don't have anything, but for the first meeting in March, but the first meeting in April we might. So we're trying to keep both of them on the schedule and then cancel them as we go along.
Right.
So, all right, we don't need a motion on that, do we?
Yes, you do.
Okay, Mike, you want to make another motion to approve the schedule of
Sure.
meetings?
Sure, I'll make a motion to approve the draft meeting schedule.
Okay.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Doris. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And we have the draft 27 budget. Anything on that?
I just want to point out on the budget, you'll see there's some areas that are highlighted, especially in the budget summary, all the personnel costs. I just received this afternoon the anticipated personnel costs for 27. What you're looking at there is just a carryover from 26, just to cover for now, but those will be updated. Of course, there's going to be an increase due to contractual obligations and employee obligations. The same thing with fuels and lubricants. That was also I'm also expecting some numbers from the finance department on those, so that's why those highlights are there. Overall, we can trying to keep it, with the least, the lowest amount of increase that we can go with, and I think we kind of got that aside from the personnel and lubricants, fuel for the vehicles. So I think it's
Okay.
pretty representative of what we need to function.
Anybody make a motion to approve the budget?
I'll make a motion to approve the budget.
Thanks, Doris. Doris made the motion. Anybody second?
I'll
I'll
second
second.
that.
Seconded by Tim Condorino. All in favor of the budget for the 2027 fiscal year?
Aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
opposed? Okay, all set. Any correspondence, Mark?
No, none.
Okay, any past and ongoing projects?
Yeah, quickly, we received 2 Forest Drive tonight. That was a, single family cam, so we'll be scheduling that. Josan Drive, we took care of. Agritourism is continuing. We have preliminary applications under review. I've got a 3-lot residential subdivision on Spithead Road, coming in as a preliminary, and, that'll be soon in front of the commission, I would say within the next month or so. 376 Boston Post Road, that's the steel building that's next to the VFW on Route 1. There's a change in use in that building. There's actually a use in that building going in, been vacant for a while. So that's going to be a site plan approval coming in because they're making changes to the site.
What's going in there?
It's a contractor's office.
Okay.
Residential contractor. Give you an update on the on your ongoing approvals. Project Learn at the Southwest School is ongoing. The building's being demolished. They're going forward on that. 118 Boston Post Road, the gas station in front of Aldi's. We're finally getting that wrapped up. He's nearing completion and he should be coming in for a CO, I would say within the next month anyway on that one.
Okay.
Broad Street Extension, the periodontist that we approved a modification to their parking lot. They started construction on that. They should be done with that soon. Tennis courts, Williams School, tennis and pickleball courts. They've applied for their permits to start construction there. Clark Lane Affordable Housing is continuing, and Roberts Court Affordable Housing is still under litigation right now. And that's all I have.
Great. Item number 10. Adjournment.
I'll make a motion to adjourn. Karen.
Karen made the motion to adjourn.
I'll
Second
second that.
by Doris. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
I hope everybody has. What? Oh, hope everybody has a happy Thanksgiving.
You
You
too.
as well.
You
Yeah,
too.
you as well, Greg.
We'll see each other in December. Good night. Thanks.
Okay. Bye. Stop recording. There's no.
Stops it.